When you move out to the country, wildlife will be all around you. Sometimes this can be a problem. Joel Van Rukel is going to give us some tips on how to live with wildlife. Joel, what kind of wildlife can become a problem when you're in the country?
Well, when people move out to the country, the complaints that we get are about animals that have pretty much adapted to living around people.
Right, so they've been there.
They've been there. The raccoons, the possums, sometimes fox, which surprise people. Okay. They can adjust with people, so when you move into their area and they've already established themselves in that wildlife area, they're not going to move away very fast.
Right. Now, I know on our property we've had problems with raccoons and possums. Are there any tips you can give me on how to handle that?
Raccoons, possum, even fox are really common problem animals on an acreage or even within the city limits because they're pretty accustomed to being around people and they'll tolerate it.
Right. And they were there first.
And they were there first. A lot of times when people move to acreages, they don't realize that the wildlife was there and established and the people have moved into that area. So some of those animals will run immediately, others will stick around, like the possum and the fox.
And how do I keep those coons from becoming a problem then?
Right. You have to take care of yourself. Your garbage, that's a buffet for them.
Okay.
If you leave food out for your dogs or your cats or any other livestock you might have, that's free, easy food for them to get to because they'll eat just about anything. So make sure those are put away, locked up, because raccoons can be really clever and they don't give up very easily.
All right. We've had some problems on our acreage with foxes and coyotes getting into our chickens. We also have sheep. Are there any tips you can give me there?
Yeah, some of those animals like the fox will chase and eat those animals naturally, and sometimes things like chickens are a lot easier to catch than a wild rabbit.
Everything will eat a chicken.
Yeah, so the animals learn that, and sometimes these nuisance animals do need to be trapped or removed. There are services, professional people who will trap and relocate animals.
Okay.
Those can be looked up locally through your conservation agency or maybe even through your yellow pages because they'll deal with animals that live in the city as well as on the acreages.
And I know we've learned if we don't lock our chickens up at night, they get eaten. So we try to lock them up.
Everything that's out there on the acreage works together. The animals are there and you're there and they were probably there first. So sometimes you just kind of have to learn some of their rules and abide by them.
Okay. And in the pond itself, I know you can get snapping turtles and some fish that you really don't want. Are there things you can do there?
A lot of the fish that you don't want, sometimes the carp type things, are people bringing them as bait to go fishing. So when people actually come onto your property to fish, instruct them not to use the goldfish as a lure, and that'll help out. Snapping turtles, they move around.
You can trap them,
They can also be trapped, and they will show up. That same thing, the water is their home and their habitat. You provide it for them. They're going to be interested to show up. But they also do some good things. Sometimes you have to remember that the wildlife, which is a nuisance, also has a purpose there.
Deer can be a real problem. How do we keep the deer out of our garden?
The deer, they're one of the animals that will come up into your yard and eat the things, but they're still pretty much afraid of people. They'll be browsing early in the morning or early in the evening, and motion, lights, things that make noise, those are all things that help deter deer.
You know, put fences around the garden.
Also fences around garden, but deer can jump pretty high. Fences around trees to help keep them from the lower branches. Tube X, which is a plastic product that goes around. Those are all helpful, but none of them are real guarantees.
All right. So occasionally I know people think that they might even see a bobcat or something around. How do you know what kind of wildlife you have on your property?
We get lots of mystery calls. I have this thing in my yard, and you don't always get to see the animals. A lot of them are nocturnal, so you have to look for the signs and the clues that they've left behind. There could be footprints in the mud or in the dust, pieces of fur that have maybe been caught up, and then there's the ever-present scat, which they've left behind on the ground to give you clues of what might be there.
In other
the
words,
droppings, yes.
Well, great. Those are some wonderful tips. Thanks a lot, Joel.
You're welcome.
Now we're going to hear a few more tips from Living the Country Life.
Looking for the latest gadgets and gear? Check out these cool country tools. Here's a hot idea. Protect your deck from sparks and spills with the original grill pad. This flexible fiber cement protective blanket is heat and weather resistant. The textured surface cleans up easily with a garden hose, so lay one down and get grilling. Keep a virtual eye on your valuable livestock with the Saddlebrook BarnCam. This simple wireless video monitoring system can send its signal through walls and floors. It can be placed up to a mile away from your TV and VCR. Tune in anytime to check on animals about to birth, injured animals, or whenever you just want to take a peek. So keep an eye on your animals without even going outside. Work smarter with Club Car's new IntelliTrack system. Club Car introduces the first fully automatic, on-demand 4x4 utility vehicle. The IntelliTrack system actually senses driving conditions and automatically engages and disengages four-wheel drive. Backed by the industry's best 2-year limited warranty, the XRT 1500 is rough, tough, and smart. To get your cool country tools, log on to livingthecountrylife.com.